Welcome, everybody, to the second hour of Mindshifters Radio. Today is Monday, March the 8th, 2021, and our call-in number is 563-999-3581, and press 1, and that puts you in the queue to talk to us. We'd love to hear your comments and questions because that makes this your show. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome, everybody. Honored and delighted that you're here with us once again as we carry forward this understanding and conversation about first century Aramaic forgiveness. It's a privilege to be able to continue this conversation. It's been going on for 10 years. And if you missed any of it, you can always go back in the archives, and there are thousands of hours of touching into these principles, teaching around these principles, the tools, and everything related to the forgiveness process as it was originally taught in the first century, and the corollary tools that have developed out of that original teaching. We're in deep appreciation for the fact that this man Yeshua came to earth and brought the brilliant insight as to how forgiveness operates, what forgiveness means, and we lament that it was pretty much disappeared from the planet for many centuries until we were able to go back into the first century Aramaic texts, establish the meaning of first century Aramaic words, and get back to the original meaning of the word forgive. We live in a culture that's told us, in essence, somebody else is responsible for my pain, but it's okay. I'll just let them off the hook. I'll forgive them for what's going on inside of me. And we've been sold that line and that bill of goods for centuries, and it's all been a lie. The word forgive in the Aramaic has nothing to do with me letting you off the hook for what's happening inside of me, which, of course, I can let you off the hook till the cows come home. It's not going to change what's happening inside of me. But actual first century Aramaic forgiveness was a tool with which you go inside yourself and remove the root of your pain. So if you think forgiveness, think removal, and you're much closer to being on track with what the man Yeshua was talking about 2,000 years ago when he spoke about forgiveness. We're honored that you're here to be part of the conversation, and if you have any questions or any thoughts for us as the conversation unfolds, if you just push 1, you'll be listening to and having a conversation directly with either Jeanie or I or both of us. Call the number again if you're on one of those stations that we can't see in our control panel. It's 563-999-3581. If you call that number, you're listening directly to the show. And if you push 1, got to put a hand up in the phone queue. Jeanie will know you want to chat with us, and we'll be having a conversation. I was blessed the other night. Jeanie was doing some energy field work on me and taking me through some still point breathing work. It was just a really awesome, sweet space. And the major lesson that I got out of that session was, in my old mind, I was thinking of what a burden it is to process through these burdensome realities that we carry, the ones based in hostility or fear. And the message that came through as she was breathing me was, when we allow the active presence of love to come in, it's not burdensome to forgive, but it's joyful to forgive. That the ease and grace with which it happens is most amazing when we allow that full presence of love to come forward in us, which is our most natural state. So thank you, Jeanie, for the guidance through that session, for the energy field work, for the support. was pretty awesome. And then thank you for allowing the process to reverse and for me to do some energy field work on you. It's a pretty awesome blessing. Any thoughts for you, sweetie?
No, it was just very powerful, and I was just thinking, how blessed we are that, we have each other, and we know the work and the breathing and the energy work, and that we can work with each other. And I highly suggest everybody listening to find someone who is familiar with it to support you in doing it, because it was great, and I'm appreciative. Thank you.
For sure. I'm with you, sweetie. And so if you're out there in listener land and you have some questions, some thoughts, you want to open a topic up around this whole body of work that we've been sharing on the show for the last 10 years, if you're listening to the show, you push 1. Through the magic of technology, Jeanie will see a hand go up in the control panel, and she'll introduce you by your area code. We'll be having a conversation. Do we have anybody out there, sweetie, with a hand up in the phone queue or anything happening in the chat room?
No, everybody's hands that are up. Talk to Dr. Tim. Oh, a hand just went up. So
cool.
Hold just one moment. It's area code 610. Is this Susan?
Hi, guys.
Hey, welcome, young lady.
Thanks.
What's on your mind today?
It's great. Well, it's good to hear you working with each other. In the Hindu tradition, they say there are 3 basic states. Sattva is the blissful state, Rajas, activity state, and Tamas, sloth. I am in a state of sloth. And the thing is, I'm trying to tell myself that it is part of a healing crisis, and it may be, but it is not very comfortable or fun. And you said it wouldn't be. About a week or 2 ago, I brought up the topic of an old memory I had of being phobic about people who, mainly strangers, who vomited in public. I brought it up with Dr. Tim. It was an old issue, and when I did worksheets on it, I could remember the intensity of my terror of being in a public place and seeing someone throw up. Now, I don't know how many times you have had that happen, but I swear to God, my horror of it was like Job. The very thing I fear, I draw to me. I got to the point where I could look at someone and know they weren't feeling well, and sure enough, it happened only 2 or 3 times. They would rush to the curb and throw up. And it was quite an amazing thing, and I thought, what is this all about? It hasn't been a present issue, I thought, but suddenly I'm having gastric issues and thinking that I'm sick to my stomach or that I have stomach cancer. And a memory came of my mother. I had a good friend when I was in high school, a good friend who got stomach cancer and died of it. I've also been very aware of Scott's work with his digestion. And I have had, gluten intolerance and gotten fine after that, but now I seem to be not very well again. And I need a little guidance on how to find my way out of what I hope is a healing crisis and not just complete bombing on all my work.
I hear you. I understand. It was interesting when we reversed roles and I was holding space for Jeanie, doing energy field work on her. She went back into a memory of some of the abuse that she had been through. And as she started to talk about that, I literally, instantly, emptying everything out of my stomach. It was such a strong reaction to me. So it's the first time in still point breathing ever I've had that happen, but it was just, so it's interesting that you bring that up. Tell me about tell me about what's happening for you in terms of symptoms.
Well, I'm able to eat. I get hungry, but then I feel bloated and gassy, and I have no energy. And I've been depressed too. And I know those are, various levels of healing crisis on several levels. They could be, anyway.
Right. So the question you ask yourself to determine if that's a healing crisis, there are several questions. The first one is, just before those symptoms occurred, were you at a new level of clarity, of vitality? If you think back, just before that started to happen, had you hit a new high, a new space of, I'm right on track, I've got my act together?
Probably, yes. I mean, it's been a slow incline. Doing the retreat has kept, I listened to the homework assignments over the weekend, got a lot out of them. Again, and I can see why we could go through 14-week sessions again and again and have the same assignments and listen again and get new stuff.
Yes.
So there have also been increasing family challenges, middle grandson, extreme anxiety, calling me a lot. I won't go into it all, but I have been looking at getting in between him and his pain, trying to stay in my own lane, not making suggestions, even offering a worksheet. I've offered, he knows they're there. He's not asking now for that. So I feel as if I want to say, I cannot stomach this. I cannot stomach it. Also, my left arm, which has been under treatment with this very gentle energy man, in some ways it's better, in some ways not, and it's my fault. My stuff, I find my shoulders up around my ears and I'm not breathing. I find this time and time again during the day, holding, trying to control, trying to fix and take care of things, feeling afraid that I can't, feeling helpless that I can't. So there's a lot going on.
So do you feel like you had gotten to a new level of vitality? Is that what I'm hearing you say? Prior to this starting?
I had, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I started doing all these artworks and things, and wonderfully, while I was going through old drawings, I found a mind shifter you gave me 2 years ago. It's safe and healing for me to do what I love to do, rather than doing what I think I ought to do, in other words. And I did that mind shifter, and it popped right up, and I've been doing what I love to do, which is not my work. It's not my purpose.
Right.
It's just fun.
Well, I think doing what you love to do is your purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's
I know that's the lesson for the day.
In alignment with your purpose.
Yeah.
So then another question you ask yourself is, what's happening with my elimination? Has there been an increase or a decrease in elimination?
No, that's been good. It's been regular and good. So, yeah.
So it sounds to me like you're in a healing crisis, which is perfect. And as you let your willingness open and embrace whatever it is that really wants to move, you'll probably throw off the next layer that's burdensome at this point. You're at the level of vitality where those old issues are able to surface, and so I'd stand in willingness and let those things surface and just rock on through them. Sounds like you're right on track with the healing crisis. And that's a good thing, although, when you kick in and the symptoms happen, it's not Dr. Feelgood.
It isn't.
Yeah.
So, Michael, I have to ask you, did you throw up or have diarrhea?
I threw up. Just totally, completely emptied my stomach as soon as Jeanie started to talk about what had happened to her. I mean, it was just
that is so amazing.
The first words out of her. I mean, I was feeling great And the first words out of her mouth about the abuse that she experienced, it was instant. My stomach contents emptied themselves over a period of about, unfortunately there was a garbage can nearby, over a period of about 2.5 minutes, just totally, completely.
Wow.
It's interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah, and I'm, because what I'm getting is great admiration that you could do that without being frightened of it. It didn't sound as if you were frightened. Now, maybe you were. I didn't even ask you.
No, actually, it was a very good feeling. Go ahead, Jeanie.
He had my head in his hands. He was doing the neck stretch, and just kind of leaned sideways over the trash can. And I was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to stop working on me?" And he's like, "No, I'm fine." And then, bleh, it was just...
Oh my God!
Anyway,
that is a gift.
I mean, I've never had that happen in 50 years of doing this work, and it was just like total, complete opening. It's like
that sounds like the
body...
ultimate empathic reaction.
Well, it certainly was a trigger for my structure letting go. I mean, literally the instant she started to describe the abuse that occurred, that was just full open release.
And you felt perfectly
full
fine
open release,
before that?
and it felt good.
Wow.
When she said, "Are you okay? Do you need to stop?" I said, "No, this is great. This feels good." It's like letting go.
Wow, Michael. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Well, on many levels, that is a very helpful thing to hear. Oh, I ought to do a mind shifter. It's okay to throw up whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, and Jeanie just went right on breathing with it. So it's like
oh
she didn't
my
skip
God.
a beat. She was her turn breathing, and I kept stretching her neck, and it was interesting.
That's so funny. Oh, my God.
I'm glad it was with a client, or with Jeanie, and not with a client. And she was perfectly fine with it. It's like, okay, let her go.
Isn't that amazing? Good for you, Jeanie.
It was.
You're healthier than you know.
Well, I had to do a really quick forgiveness of guilt that he needed to pay attention to himself instead of me. And once he assured me, no, he was okay, and he kept holding my head. And so I was just like, okay. So I just kept breathing. And, I mean, I was at a very important part of the process because, I mean, I ended up sharing things with Michael that I've never told anyone.
Wow.
And so it was awesome. It was powerful.
Wow.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So maybe a mind shifter would be good to look at what that's about. What underlies that reaction from you. And a mind shifter might be, it's safe and healing for me to be in the presence of someone who is releasing through vomit.
Barfing. Yeah.
Barfing,
well,
yeah.
It's funny. You use the word puking all over. You use that often.
Yes.
And I've been aware of that. The thing is, having little children and cats and dogs and even a husband, there are certain things that become less intense as you get accustomed. I felt as if my children and my animals and even my husband at one point, who was very suddenly sick, I had to race him. He was having a reaction. He was on an MAO inhibitor. And he ate something at a dinner party that was toxic, and he didn't know that it was hidden in the food. He became really, really violently sick in the middle of the night, and I knew right away what must be happening. Popped him in the car with a bucket in his lap, drove through red lights. It was in the middle of the night, went right into the ambulance bay, jumped out of the car and yelled at the guy, "MAO inhibitor reaction, I'm an ambulance, get to work," or something. In goes my husband, and I'm, the last thing I'm thinking about is that he's barfing. It's that he could be in danger for his life, and it was a whole different thing. So I've been highly functional, but as a in kindergarten when Richard Kaplan threw up. He was ostracized in first grade when David Allen threw up all down John McMaster's back. I had to stay home from school for a week. And so, there's been this big thing. Oh, man.
It's just so hilarious that you bring that up right now. I mean, this was just 2 nights ago.
That's so funny. I can't believe it. So
It
anyway,
is funny.
You were giving me a mind shifter, and I don't want it, Michael. I'm telling you. If you're going to give me permission to throw up, I don't know. Anyway, say it. Okay.
It's safe and healing for me to be in the presence of someone throwing up and or to be the person who's throwing up.
Okay.
See what that brings up for you.
Oh, my God. It brings up a lot of stuff. I can feel them all. Yeah, okay. Good mind shifter.
That sounded like it came from the gut.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It sounds like something your body wants to clear, to move out.
Right. So in addition to the mind shifter, is there any, I was thinking I need to fast or something, but I'm not a good faster because of, blood sugar issues. I get hypoglycemic pretty fast. I don't do fasts during Lent, for instance, but any suggestions as a naturopath?
Well, my input would be that, if there are blood sugar issues when you're fasting, it's usually because of unresolved grief. And when you take the load of grief off of your pancreas, then you'll be able to fast without it impacting your blood sugar at all. And it's interesting, I was in the middle of a 2-day dry fast. I had not drunk any water or anything when this happened. So that even made it more interesting, because it was like, oh, where did that come from?
Yikes. How did you have anything in there?
That's what I said. Where did that come from? I said that to Jeanie. It's like, I haven't drank anything in 30 hours. How did I have anything to let go of? But I did.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
It was quite amazing.
Unresolved grief, huh? Okay. You're onto it.
Unresolved grief. Yep. That's the energetic pattern that usually becomes the overlay that creates dysfunction in the pancreas. And I've watched more than once someone who's had long-term blood sugar issues, and when they resolve the deep grief, they can fast with no issue at all. I remember one woman at Heartland who she was on the support team for a year, and it was kind of a joke with everybody on the team that, when she wants to eat, you better get food out, or, it's Misery City.
Oh, yeah.
And during one of the intensive sessions, she touched into the fact that the love of her life, man she was married to, had gone into the hospital for a transfusion and gotten AIDS-tainted blood, and got AIDS and died, and was just grief-stricken as she touched into that, just totally, completely grief-stricken. Like, it was, of course, something that she knew, but it wasn't something that she emotionally was able to touch. And when she opened up and touched that, went through that, I mean, literally, that day was the last time I ever saw her go wonky because she didn't have food.
Wow.
Otherwise, everybody knew, if she starts to get that way, give her food.
Yep.
But that was the end of it, just like literally right there on the spot.
Wow. Are there any ways to support the pancreas from the external as well as doing the grief work?
all of the above. I mean, there's nothing in particular that I would suggest in the way of, supplementation or anything. You really don't want to supplement the pancreas unless it's really in trouble for what it naturally produces, because that just weakens it further.
Right.
But, all of the above, the willingness to embrace whatever's going on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Susan, when you do a fast, have you done it with using lemon water and cayenne pepper with a little bit of maple syrup in it?
In the morning, I have hot.
Go ahead. When we've done our fast, that's what we usually do is lemon water and cayenne pepper and just drink it all day long.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes we'll do a partial fast, like, we'll do the lemon water, cayenne pepper up until dinner time, and then we'll have something light, like, salad or soup or just something really light.
Mhm. Okay, yeah. In the morning, I have 20 ounces of hot lemon water, but I don't put anything else in it, so I can certainly do that. But you say do it all day long. How many days do you do that?
We've done it up to 14 days before.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple of times I've done that. Prior to meeting Jeanie, I've done 40 days of that.
Nothing but lemon water, cayenne, and a little maple syrup?
Yep.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Actually, I once decided to creatively fast. And, when the body's doing a mono food, it tends to function like a fast. And so I did a 40-day fast on popcorn. That was kind of a fun fast.
But you must have drunk water.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay, good. Wow, popcorn. I had a brother-in-law who did zucchini for about 40 days, and he literally looked green at the end of it. I didn't think I wanted to ever do that one. Yeah.
Zucchini for 40 days. Now, that sounds pretty intense.
Well, he was one of Yogi Bhajan's students. Yogi Bhajan has now met with tremendous notoriety as having been an abuser of his young women students. And
really?
Tin's sister was one of his students. And she was never touched, partly because her father was wealthy and supporting this yogi, and the yogi was smart enough not to get involved that way. But one of her best friends was very badly hurt by this and has written a book. It's a very good book, actually, about what happened. So anyway, yeah, Yogi Bhajan, he's famous. He had, Yogi Tea, that's his tea, and all these restaurants he opened, and he did a lot of good work. But there was this going on. So,
we'll hold him in a blessing and healing.
Yeah. He's gone on it from this life to the next one. Whoa, Michael, such an interesting coincidence. Okay. Well, I think...
kind of boggles my mind.
Yeah. Well, it was a huge issue. And oddly, I've been having a wonderful letter exchange with my first cousin's daughter, who is an artist and a dancer. She's probably 15 years younger than I am. And we've been corresponding about Christian Science, and I've been telling her about your work. And I told her about my phobia about vomiting, and she said, oh, my God, I had the same one. I can name every kid in grade school who ran to the sink or threw up in the hall. And I had the same phobia. What is this about? Is it a family? It's probably generational. God. Anyway, I don't know where to go with it from now. Yeah, and if anybody else has hand up, I've run out of funny stories about people throwing up.
All right, young lady. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Give Tim a hug for us, if you would. Tell him we said
I
hello.
I will. Thanks.
And we'll see you on Wednesday night.
Yep.
All right. Take care. Blessings.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
All right, Miss Jeanie. Well, we've got about 30 minutes left. So if there's anybody out there.
And you haven't read from the book yet.
Oh, that's right. I haven't, have I? I'm actually still breathing from the session that Jeanie did with me the other night. And so I'm sort of in the middle of a healing crisis, which is good. And I actually have to reach over to get the book. So give me just 1 second.
I think we were on chapter 8, talking about the evidential or projection and externalization. Are you back? I think we were chapter 8 on projection and externalization.
That's where we be. Page 44. So we're at the top of page 44 for anyone who's following along. And I'm going to read the last sentence that we covered to pick up the energy from there. It's been a few days. Projection is a totally internal process and is a product of the mind using energies from the past triggered into activity to build a reality. The brain's image of that trigger. Our projections are false images which, when they're about someone or something else, are then externalized. Externalization is a pretense that an image into which we have projected, a false image engraved in our minds by the past, is outside of us, and that they are the cause of our pain. So we've got two different processes happening here, projection and externalization. And where our culture teaches that projection is taking something inside of us and putting it outside of us, that's not really projection at all. Projection happens as a result of brain cells firing, and those brain cells firing produces images, produces literally the world that we see. And then we pretend that what we're seeing is outside of us. We've externalized that image. Any reality or image we hold in our minds and believe belongs to the outside world is an externalization of that reality. Let's look at a simplistic example. Imagine a child whose home life was miserable, a life of severe abuse. If he sees these lines on the page, you remember that we, in our reading the other day, we have a picture, have a line drawing of a house. And so I had asked Richard, what is that? He says, a house. And I reflected back to him, well, it's actually lines on a page. Your brain makes up that image of a house because you have brain cells for that. If we had someone from the jungles, just, off somewhere in the world who looked at those lines on the page, having no brain cells for house, would not project from brain cells the image of a house into those lines on the page. So if we had someone, if he sees these lines on a page, what might happen? So if we took someone who had a very miserable home life and they look at the lines on a page that to our modern minds would represent a house, what might happen? His blood pressure might rise, his eyes will probably bulge slightly, and he might be preparing to run. He has given the lines on the page a meaning from his past, a meaning contained in his mind. He then thinks, by externalizing that image and meaning, that the source of his pain is outside of him, that it belongs to the lines on the page. By that action, he's cut himself off from resolving his pain. So when I realize that when my mind generates a reality, and any given circumstance that I find myself in, we've got 6 people staying on a street corner that observe an accident happening, but when they all get into court, you'd almost wonder if any 2 of them weren't the same accident. Their descriptions are so different. Why? Because no 2 people who thought they watched the accident happening watched the accident happen at all. What happened was the accident resonated content in their minds. And their minds generated quite literally what they thought they saw. Otherwise, how could their descriptors be so different when they all, at least ostensibly, observed the same thing? But the truth is, with our eyes, we've never seen anything. The eye is not a two-way valve where information comes in and we stand behind those windows and see out. It doesn't happen. In fact, the eye does not see. We have a whole cultural conversation that that's what happens, but the truth is, nothing is seen through the eye. It's a one-way valve. Yes, it is an antenna that brings in frequencies of light. But you can't see out through the antenna any more than you can look into the wire in your TV set that brings a signal in and look out through that antenna and see what's going on outside the house. I mean, it's really pretty silly when you get down to really looking at that. So information comes in, resonates brain cells, and our brain generates from its past the world that we see. And I mean that fully, 100% literally. So when an event happens in your world and your brain generates an image, that image is a reflection of internal content in the mind. When I learn that the images generated by my mind that are internal to me are always driven by goals, I have the key to how to collapse those images. And that is that I get to cancel that goal. And that is the core of the first century Aramaic forgiveness process. When I think about the fact that 2,000 years ago, this man Yeshua understood that. And if you didn't like the perceptual construct your mind was showing you, and you cancel the goal. Remember, the word forgive in Aramaic is shabag. It means to cancel. When you cancel the goal that drives your mind to see things in a certain way, the way your mind is seeing things collapses. And when it collapses in on itself. And when it collapses in on itself, it drops into the underlying data, the underlying unresolved pain or trauma that's creating a particular painful reality. And so when it collapses in on itself and love is present in your mind, that's when you get to dissolve the underlying pain of any painful experience you've ever had. Free of that, your mind cannot generate that reality any longer. And when you look at that, and I think about how long it took working with the first century Aramaic language and the teaching on forgiveness, I mean, for 4 decades, and not really realizing that's what was happening. And when you see it, when you understand it, the forgiveness process is absolutely brilliant. And when we stop this game of substituting the perceptual constructs of our mind for the actuality that's going on in our world, then we can really start to make progress in our own healing. So that's our reading for today from Why Is This Happening to Me Again on projection and externalization. And I wonder if that brings up any thoughts for anybody. If you're out there in listener land, we've got about 20 minutes for conversation, and we would be deeply appreciative if you have a thought or a question for us. Push the button, say hello. How can we support you? What's on your mind? By the way, the book Why Is This Happening?
A hand up.
Okay, well, let me just explain that the book is out of print, although you can usually find used copies of it still. It's been 25 years, but it's still out there. And so you can usually buy it used on Amazon or on eBay. So you can still find the book in print. And if you are not able to find it, then you can go to our website and download it free and give it a look. So let's say hello to our caller, sweetie.
Okay, it's area code 541. You are on the air.
Hi, can you hear me?
You're loud and clear, young lady. How are you?
Oh, good. Good. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm rocking.
Good. I didn't hear the first half hour of the show, but I have a question that is current events for me.
Okay.
And I'm going to also comment on the Avicen. That I think I'm noticing results, and
awesome.
they would be the kind that I want. I feel really clear, like my thinking capacity has had a lot of fog removed. However, I know it's also from doing the forgiveness work too. So, but I'll take it either way, however it comes. You know.
Yay.
One supports the other. So here's my question. It's about my eyes. And I just heard what you said about the projection and that the eyes don't really see. And so I know as I do my conscious active presence of love forgiveness work, everything is always improving and evolving and generating new results. Because that's how I work, and that's how the tools work. But I have a very imminent eye surgery on both eyes to replace the lenses in both eyes, one at a time, about 3 weeks apart, to instantly give me 20/20 vision. And it's not LASIK. Mm-hmm. It's called something, lens replacement. Something like
they're going to do a lens replacement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a pretty expensive surgery. I don't get covered by anything, Medicare, Medicaid, Meta. Insurance, nothing. But anyway, all of that aside, the seeing that you were talking about, that the eyeballs don't really see, I understand to be the inner seeing, which is where I do all my work. And theoretically, I could be powerful enough to change my eyes enough from collapsing the disintegrative energies enough that I wouldn't need this surgery. However, I have no way to predict how long that will take.
Right.
So I just feel like corrective assistance is a good option, and I know you're waiting to say something. The last thing I want to say, if I choose that option, do you think it will affect my internal process of healing my eyes anyway? How will my eyes and my brain adapt to this change that I'm implanting in my body's energy system? There you go.
Right.
I'm done.
Well,
I got the question
my
out.
offering, I've known several people who've gone through that surgery and found it to be extremely beneficial. And, while we all know that you could heal everything that's going on, which is true, if your eyes are giving you a challenge that, is a problem for you and really needs, or that your life would benefit from immediate correction, there's the theory, yep, someday I can heal my eyes, and I have this available to me right now to bring forward another level of healing. So, as you say, you have no idea how long it's going to take to change that physiology. And again, if the mechanism is inhibited enough that you'd benefit greatly from that change, I've used an example you probably heard me use in the past of, I'm really thirsty, and over there on the desk there's a cup of water, and I know that with my mind I can reach out and move that cup of water and get a drink. Might take me 30 years to learn how to do it, and I might, dry up and dehydrate before I ever get the water to my mouth. So why don't I get up and reach over and get the glass of water or the cup of water and drink from it? Yeah. So that would be my take. You have it there. It's my understanding is it's a pretty safe surgery. From the people that I've known that have had it previously, and can certainly be a big upgrade. So bless it, love it, and enjoy it. Would be my highest thought.
Yeah, and then I'll incorporate it in my wholeness of being, as far as it's an aspect or a feature or quality factor that is part of what I include now in my whole picture. Yeah.
That'd be my thought.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, I don't need it. I have the kind of vision that works fine with glasses. I don't do contacts because they're hard for me to do. I haven't learned how. There's all these other options, but I like the idea of having my hands free again and knowing that I can really rely on sharp vision.
Right.
So I think I'm going to do it. And
my highest thought is go for it. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. I do take care of myself, and I always will. I'm so committed. So I thank you again, always. I'm always thanking you, Michael. I just love this work and so appreciate what it's brought my life to, the point it's brought my life to now. I
understand, and I join you in that appreciation.
Yeah, it's thank you. It's so easy to let go of fear or see through it, beyond it. Anyway, I'm going to let someone else come on, and thanks for your thoughts today.
All right. Have a blessed one.
You too.
Okay. All right, so we're down to about 11 minutes, which means we've got time for at least one more good conversation. And so if you're out there in listener land, push one. How can we support you? What's on your mind? Questions about any of the tools? What kind of support do you need? If you're on a station that we can't see you on our control panel, the call-in number is 563-999-3581. We would be delighted to have that conversation with you. So, Miss Jeanie, do we have anybody out there with a hand up in the phone queue or anything happening in the chat room?
No, it is all quiet. No questions. And we have, if you count the outro, we've got 8 minutes. So we've got time. Press 1.
So what's on your mind out there in listener land? Is there any point of this work that you've been contemplating that you would like some clarification on, or any of the steps and any of the worksheets that we do, that we offer? And if you haven't been using the forgiveness process, go ahead, sweetie.
I think Julie pressed 1 again. Let me double check. Did you mean to hit 1 again, Julie?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I'm okay either way, but I just thought if nobody's going to raise their hand, that you and I could talk. Yeah, you and I we could, three of us, talk about music a little more. If you have any questions, I could help you with. And how is that going with exploring your voice and with Aria Rain and Mary Had a Little Lamb?
I haven't put it into a lot of practice yet, but I have downloaded that day's video, and I'm editing out just that part where we talked about the music. And Michael told me also that you offered to assist me in vocalizing, and so I thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just have a private conversation, but I'm happy to assist. And
thank you.
Possible. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a good time right now. I feel so clear.
Well, it's sweet that you opened that conversation on the music, because I know it's been very meaningful in conversation with Jeanie since then. And
good.
It's opening a whole other space for her in her process. So it's pretty cool. And I did find some online, some YouTube University videos on different people talking about understanding the scales and such. So it'll be interesting as the understanding of that grows. And thank you for having those musical brain cells.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm a good part of the community. I can offer that, and it's a joy for me to do that. So thank you. Oh, thank you.
You must be doing your purpose.
I think yes, I guess I am.
Hey, tell me what's happening with the Avicen for you.
Well, I'm sharing it with friends, telling them about it. They're interested. One of my friends has a daughter who has a son who's a grandson to my friend, and he's really electric and innovatively oriented, and he's pretty young. I can't remember, but 10 years old or something. And so he's going to love it. And he has a condition. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, and then what else? I feel different. I dreamed more, and that was before I even used it at night. The next night I used it at night, and I was more restless. So I feel like it's like anything else. It's whatever is ready to percolate up and heal. You know?
Yeah, it has a really powerful impact on the brain. I know there's one fellow that I worked with. I loaned him one for a week, and he had a stroke. He was 74, and he'd had a stroke 4 years earlier. And prior to that, his doctor had given him a certain set of exercises, and one of the exercises included a balance posture that he could hold prior to the stroke for a full minute, which was, according to his doctor, pretty good. After his stroke, he could not hold that posture for even 2 seconds. He just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And for 4 years, he wasn't able to do that until he started to use the Avicen. Within a week, he was back to holding that posture for 30 seconds, which was halfway back to, what he'd lost over 4 years. So it was a pretty profound impact on his brain and his balance center. So it's amazing.
The balance between the two brains, the right brain, left brain, too. Because I used to observe when I was younger that I would, dreaming-wise, I would sleep on one side of the head with one, turn one way, and this is my theory, I would get more circulation there, or more concentrated. And then I would turn over, and then it would shift. And so through the night, you get this balanced dreaming going on. And I got to the point where I could actually go back into a dream I'd had the night before. I could just say, I want to go back to that dream, and I could go back to it. And I just felt like, I don't know, the circulation is everything. It has to be far-reaching.
It is everything, for sure.
for physical anyway. So I'll probably heal really fast with my eyes too when I get the surgery. I'll recover easily.
Yeah, everybody that I've spoken to that uses the Avicen, if they go through some sort of surgery or injury, says that their healing process was much accelerated. And when you start delivering that microcirculation, and the estimate in the culture is that 60% of people over the age of 40 have microcirculation issues. And when you start helping that microcirculation to open, there's so many things that it touches. It's everything. Everything. So when you figure you've got 60 billion capillaries, and that's the only thing that actually delivers oxygen nutrition to the cell and removes the waste from the cell, if that's compromised, there's an impact on everything in the structure. So everything tends to improve. It's pretty cool, pretty sweet.
How did you happen, if there's a minute left, how did you happen to find out about it?
Actually, Patrick McGann, he was a naturopath. You've heard him on the show before. He was at Heartland 2 years ago for the whole summer and got some really big changes in his ability to walk. And when he went home, a friend of his introduced him to it. And he was at the point, Patrick's 74 and had diabetes and neuropathy and pain in his feet he was at the point where at 74 he could get up in the morning and he could work on a project for a maximum of 2 hours, and he would have such excruciating pain in his feet from neuropathy he'd have to go put his feet up for the rest of the day. Well, I actually, I recently made a trip to Florida and actually stopped and spent a day and a half with Patrick. And I got there about 10 o'clock at night, and Patrick is building a new massage room. And at 10 o'clock at night, he was still working on his massage room, which he had started working on that morning. So after, he's been using it about maybe 10 months. His neuropathy is reduced to the point where now he can be on his feet and work a 10 or 12-hour day without any problem. That's a pretty dramatic change. And so when he first shared it to me, with me, it was like, oh, yeah, okay, thanks, Patrick. But then as he, that time expanded that he could be on his feet and he could work, it's like, whoa, that's pretty profound. I'm going to get one of those. That time expanded that he could be on his feet and he could work. It's like, whoa, that's pretty profound. I'm going to get one of those. So
I know, it's so great. I feel like for a while there, I was compromising and resigning myself to the slowdown, and I can only accomplish so much in a day. I do things slower. And then I stopped finally beating myself up about procrastinating because that wasn't really what was going on. I wanted to get things done. And now today, I feel like there's this overarching plan that I have, like from Laws of Living, that then I set goals and set my weekly plan. All of that is starting to come into focus as an attribute that I have.
Sweet.
It was buried under the lack of circulation in